brothers, sons, men of God, you've been lied to. They told you if you were just nice enough, she would love you. They told you if you held the door, paid the bill, smiled the smile, held, silenced your truth, and swallowed your strength, that she would see your worth. But I came to tell somebody tonight, being nice won't save you. Being real will. You've been so busy being agreeable, you lost your voice. You've been so worried about being liked, you forgot to be respected. And now you're confused, tired, held, and emotionally bankrupt because you've been giving the best of you to people who never saw the value in you. I didn't come here to coddle your wounds. I came to confront your habits. Because God didn't call you to be a doormat, a puppy, or a placeholder. He called you to be a man. It's time to stop being icy and start being dokshol. If you've ever been ghosted, ignored, used, held, or manipulated in the name of being the good guy, then don't you dare move from that seat. You need this word? Because this word right here, this is your wake-up call. You've been told all your life that being nice is the key. That if you smile wide enough, bend over backward far enough, and agree often enough, you'll finally get the love you deserve. But I came to tell you, niceness is not godliness, and it sure ain't strength. See, there's a difference between being good and being nice. A good man has standards. Held, a good man has convictions. A good man says yes when he means yes, and a no when he means no. But a nice man, he'll nod his head while he's dying inside. Held. He'll agree with what he doesn't believe, stay where he doesn't belong, and give what he can't afford to lose, just to keep the peace. But I came to shake you loose from that lie. You've mistaken passivity for virtue. You've called weakness gentle. You've labeled self-neglect as sacrifice. But deep down, held, you're not being afraid. You're afraid that if you speak up, she'll walk out. If you draw a line, she'll find someone else. If you show her who you really are, flaws, truth, help, backbone and all, she won't want you. And so you hide behind nice. You serve without reciprocation. You give without gratitude. You pursue without purpose. All in the name of being the good guy. But listen to me. Niceness that costs you your identity is not kindness. It's a trap. You weren't created to shrink, to fit inside someone else's fantasy. Held, you weren't built to smile through disrespect and call it love. Held. You weren't made to lower your standard to feel seen. When you live like that, held, you're not loving her, you're losing you. Some of you are exhausted, not because you're unloved, but because you're pretending every day. Held, you wake up trying to be what you think she wants instead of standing firm in who you truly are. You laugh at jokes that cut you. You say, it's okay when you're bleeding. You show up for her every time she calls, but when you need someone, there's silence. Held. That's not partnership. That's performance. and you're performing yourself into emptiness. You think being nice makes you honorable. But what if I told you it's making you invisible, held? Because when a man doesn't stand for anything, he becomes nothing more than background noise in his own life. Held, she doesn't respect you because you won't respect yourself. Held, she's not drawn to you because you've muted your strength to avoid confrontation. You think you're being humble, but you're really being hollow. Let me tell you something hard, but healing. God never called you to be a doormat. He didn't design you to tiptoe around someone's brokenness in hopes of being picked, held. You weren't sent to beg for attention from a woman who doesn't even see your soul. You are not a tool. You are not a ticket to her comfort. You are not a placeholder until her dream man shows up. If she can't value your presence without you constantly proving it, it's time to stop giving discounts where full price is due. And I'm not telling you to be cruel. I'm not telling you to be cold. I'm telling you to be clear. Clear about who you are. Clear about what you want. Clear about what you won't tolerate. Because clarity is love too. Boundaries are love too. And truth will love you better than approval ever could. You've got to stop hiding your roar. Stop clipping your wings just so she won't feel small, held. Stop burying your standards under her validation. If she can't handle the full version of you, held. Don't give her the edited one. And don't you dare confuse rejection with failure. Held. Some of the best things that ever happened to you will be the ones that walk away when you finally tell the truth. Because when you stop being nice, you stop attracting users and start attracting equals. When you stop pretending, you make room for someone who sees the real you. Not the version of you that plays safe, but the version that walks in purpose. You don't owe anyone the parts of you that God called sacred, held. You don't have to keep serving at altars where you're not honored. You don't have to keep showing up just to be ignored. This is your wake-up call. If the nice guy mask is costing you peace, your voice, and your worth, it's time to take it off. You were never meant to please everybody. You were meant to stand in truth, stand in strength, stand in love that doesn't require self-erasure. Stop being nice to girls and start being honest with yourself. You keep asking for respect. But let me ask you this, have you earned it from yourself first? Held? You're running around trying to be everything to everybody, trying to fix her mood, heal her trauma, catch her heart. But you haven't even sat down long enough to ask, held, do I respect me? Because until you honor yourself, until you value your time, your energy, your voice, held, your boundaries, nobody else will, not them, not even you. You keep giving yourself away in pieces and wondering why you feel so broken. You keep bending to fit, hoping she'll appreciate how different you are. You think she'll choose you because you never say no. You think loyalty means silence. You think love means letting her walk all over you as long as you get to stay in her life. But let me tell you something hard held. Of love is not built on your ability to disappear, and respect can't grow where you keep shrinking. Men held, hear me. If you don't define who you are, the world will do it for you. And the version they give you will always be beneath what you were born for. You are not just a provider. You are not just a pursuer. You are not some emotionally neutered machine sent here to absorb pain with a smile. You are a man with thoughts, desires, needs, boundaries, and purpose. And if you don't start treating yourself like one, held, you'll keep getting treated like a doormat dressed in cologne. You keep talking about how she treats you, but let me ask, why are you still there? If she doesn't hear you when you speak, why do you keep talking? If she doesn't care when you give, held, why are your hands still outstretched? You're not staying because of love. You're staying because of fear, held. You're afraid to lose the little attention you're getting, even if it comes with pain. You're afraid to be alone, so you settle for being used. You're afraid that if you walk away, no one better will show up. But let me tell you, God never blesses cowardice. He blesses clarity. He blesses courage. He blesses truth. You've got to stop trading your self-worth for short-term affection. Stop compromising what you know is right just to avoid rocking the boat. You weren't built to float. You were built to lead. But you can't lead anyone when you're led by insecurity, held. And that's what this nice guy game has become, a cover for deep insecurity. You're not being respectful. You're being scared. You're not being loving. Held, you're being afraid of not being loved back. And I know what it feels like, held. I know what it feels like to crave someone's approval so bad, you start editing yourself just to keep them around. I know what it's like to pour out everything you have, held, hoping maybe this time it'll be enough. But listen to me, you are not a product for someone else's comfort. You are not a background character in her story. You are not a free therapist, a backup plan, or a filler between heartbreaks. And you sure aren't here to convince someone of your value. Either they see it or they don't. Held. And if they don't, stop trying to sell what's not meant for them to buy. Respect isn't just something you demand. It's something you model. It's something you live. Respect is in how you talk to yourself in silence. Respect is in how you walk away from what wounds you, held. Respect is in how you guard your time, your peace, your space, held. You teach people how to treat you by what you tolerate. And too many of you have tolerated far too much for far too long. It's not about being arrogant. It's not about being aggressive. It's about being anchored in your identity, held, anchored in your values, anchored in what you will and will not allow. Because when you're anchored, you don't beg, you don't chase, you don't compromise every time someone threatens to leave. You know who you are, and you refuse to bend just to be seen, held, and don't be fooled. Some people don't want you strong. Some people don't want you whole. They prefer you confused, passive, easy to manipulate. Because once you start loving yourself right, held, once you start walking in truth, once you stop settling, held. You become unavailable to the very things that used to control you. That's when the shift happens. That's when you stop being prey and start being a man with purpose. You keep trying to be what she wants, but have you ever stopped to ask if she even knows what she needs? You're twisting yourself into a version you think is more lovable, softer, quieter, agreeable, always available, a high held. You're wearing the mask of the perfect guy, hoping if you just keep saying the right thing, doing the right thing, acting the right way, eventually she'll choose you. But let me tell you something, a high held. God put you on this earth to be chosen by pretending to be someone you're not. Oh, you weren't created to blend in just to be accepted. A high held, you weren't designed to water yourself down to make someone else comfortable. Held, and you certainly weren't meant to keep shrinking just to keep the peace. That's not love. That's survival. A high held and love, real love, doesn't require you to disappear. You think you're being strategic, but you're being suffocated. You think, if I just give it time, if I keep being nice, if I don't rock the boat. But time doesn't heal what truth won't touch. You can't keep trying to earn something that only flows from connection. A held, you can't keep hoping your silence will finally be noticed. It's not your performance that's keeping you from love. It's your fear of being real. Held. When did you learn to hide yourself? Who taught you that the truth of who or wasn't enough? Who told you that you had to earn affection by becoming invisible? That if you just become who they need, they'll give you what you want. But let me ask Yug, a high held, what if she falls for the version of you that isn't even real? Then what? What do you do when you wake up next to someone who loves the character, but not the man? A high held? What happens when you've built an entire relationship on pretending? And now you can't keep it up. Let me tell you what happens. You break. You collapse under the weight of your own silence. You become bitter because you gave everything and still feel empty. And it's not because she didn't love. It's because she never got the chance to love you. You think authenticity is risky. But you know what's even riskier? Living your whole life as a watered down version of yourself and wondering why nobody ever saw your worth. Held. You think being nice will keep the peace, but that peace is fake. That peace costs you your identity. A high held, that peace is built on eggshells. And one day you're going to crack. People can only connect with what's real. They can only respect what's true. If you're always hiding, always performing, always saying what you think she wants to hear, then who is she actually with? Not you. A reflection. a shadow, a script. And then you wonder why she pulls away. You wonder why she's not emotionally invested. A high held, you wonder why she keeps saying, you're sweet, but it's because you're showing her a replica, not a man. If you're always agreeable, always accommodating, always sacrificing, she may smile and say, thank you. But inside, she's wondering where your backbone is. Inside, a high held, she's wondering what you really think, what you really want, who you really are. But you've hidden behind the mask of niceness for so long, even you don't know anymore. It's time to stop chasing affection and start living from truth. You weren't made to be liked by everybody. High held, you weren't made to please her into choosing you. You were made to walk in the fullness of your identity. Because when you do, when you stop pretending and start showing up as your true self, something powerful happens. You stop begging for connection and start attracting people who actually resonate with who you are. Hell, you stop settling for being tolerated and start being celebrated. And let me say this clearly, the woman who's really for you wants the real you. She wants your honesty, not your harmony. She wants your depth, not your decoration. She wants your presence, not your performance. A high held, you think she wants the man who never disagrees, never sets boundaries, never says what he really feels, but that's not true. A woman with real heart, real maturity, and real desire for partnership wants a man who can meet her with truth, not just comfort. So stop adjusting yourself to her insecurities. Stop tiptoeing around your own desires. Stop asking, what does she want me to be? And start asking, who has God called me to be? Because once you embrace that, once you own your voice, your truth, your presence, you'll start walking in a room with clarity, not confusion. You'll stop auditioning and start discerning. You won't need to be chosen. You'll do the choosing. There is freedom in being real. There is peace in being seen. There is power in being LU, not copy, not a clone, not a construct, just you, whole, present, unashamed. Because if love can't find the real you, it can't keep you either. Some of you are so afraid of being alone that you'll hold on to anything that looks like affection, even if it's breaking you. You keep saying, at least she talks to me. At least she texts me back. At least I'm not by myself. But can I tell you something real tonight? Being alone is not the worst thing that can happen to you. Living with someone who doesn't value you, a high held, draining yourself for someone who doesn't see you, staying available to someone who only calls when they're bored, that's far worse. Held, you've convinced yourself that a piece of someone is better than nothing. A high held, that crumbs of attention are worth your loyalty. That her checking in once a week after ignoring you for days is still something. But deep down, you know it's not. You know it's not love. It's not mutual. It's a high held. It's not healthy. You know that what you're doing is surviving, not thriving. You know you're afraid to let go because you don't know who you are without her. You're afraid of the silence, afraid of the space, afraid of the emptiness you feel when she's not around. But here's the truth I held. A loneliness isn't healed by being with the wrong person. It's made worse. She's not healing you. She's distracting you. She's not feeding your soul. She's keeping you busy enough so you don't notice how hungry you are. And you've made her your everything. Your motivation, your validation, your identity. And now, a high-held, you can't breathe unless she gives you air. But what happens when she walks out? A high-held. What happens when she chooses someone else? What happens when she never chooses you at all? A high-held. You were never meant to revolve around another person like that. You were meant to stand rooted, solid, a high-held, clear on who you are with or without her presence. You were meant to live in wholeness, not attachment. You were meant to love from overflow, not desperation. But you've attached yourself to an illusion. And you're so afraid of losing that illusion that you're sacrificing your dignity to keep it. So high-held, some of you haven't even been honest with yourselves about what this relationship really is. You call it love, a high-held, but it's not. It's fear dressed up like faith. It's insecurity wearing a smile. It's a high-held. It's you hoping that if you hang on just a little longer, held, she'll wake up one day and see what's been in front of her all along. But that day hasn't come. A high-held. And if you're honest, she's shown you time and time again that it's not going to. Held. You've been her option while making her your priority. You've been her comfort zone while ignoring your own discomfort. You've been her emotional support, her backup, her maybe later, while waiting for a commitment that never comes. A high-held, you're giving everything and receiving nothing consistent in return, high-held. And you think that staying makes you strong. But sometimes staying is just fear dressed as loyalty.